My path as a dentist has been very interesting. It started when I was in high school. My dad was an orthodontist, and I started as a lab technician. So I got really good with my hands in a laboratory making appliances. And in dental school, I learned that dentists, at the time, dentists had the highest suicide rate. And so that really put my antennas up and created my awareness around, I need to keep an eye on things as to why that is. I'm not sure. And at the time, I had no idea. I didn't have any clues. But when I got out of dental school and in Iowa and moved to Colorado, I happened to end up in Colorado Springs. That's just where I landed my first job, working for an insurance company, working in a very disease care-oriented model. And I happened to be watching CBS News 60 Minutes one night, and a gentleman by the name of Hal Huggins, who was a dentist and immunologist who practiced in Colorado Springs, was on 60 Minutes that night and being interviewed about the relationship of mercury to multiple sclerosis, among other diseases. And it was pretty much a point and counterpoint between mercury being safe and mercury being very toxic. And Dr. Huggins was getting involved in research that indicated that mercury fillings actually off-gas in the conditions in the mouth, one of them being acid. And the acidity in the mouth causes corrosion of the fillings, and off comes this mercury vapor. And they were able to film that off-gassing. So after I saw him on 60 Minutes, I decided to call him up and offer to buy him dinner. And he accepted. And as we got to know each other, he hired me right then and there that night at dinner to come in and be one of the dentists that's doing what's called the dental revision, basically taking out the mercury fillings, taking out root canals, being part of the diagnosis and treatment planning, and working with medical doctors and nurses, and working in his clinic, which was on the other side of town. He put together a integrated medical dental facility where we started working with doctors and nurses, and it was just fantastic. I was working with patients who were really going to work on their health, and I was learning about blood chemistries and what could be treated by the doctors and the dentists at the same time was so much more profound than just fixing the mouth or just putting people on drugs and trying to manage their blood chemistries. I mean, we were really doing some great work there, and the patients were coming from all over the place, and they were so happy and so grateful to have doctors that were thinking all together on the same page. And then all of a sudden that clinic got shut down. Just one day it was just, it was just closed, and the government closed it, and on a technicality. And it made me feel really sad that something that was working, that was claimed to be harming patients, was actually healing patients. And so Dr. Huggins, that's when they took his license away and he could no longer practice legally. So he went into research, and because Dr. Huggins had healed some very amazing people that wanted to put their money towards understanding the truth behind disease, some research was started, and we got together with a Professor PhD Boyd Haley at the University of Kentucky. He had the technology at the University of Kentucky Department of Biochemistry that could identify anything based on its molecular weight. So Dr. Huggins was smart enough to know that the problem inside of root canals was gas. It was an off-gassing problem created by the bacteria, the flora inside the tooth. So a few biological dentists, whenever we extracted teeth, we would FedEx the teeth to the laboratory at the University of Kentucky, and what we found inside was some very potent gases like methyl mercaptan, hydrogen sulfide, thioethers, and these gases that creep out of the teeth, especially every time you bite down, they're forced into the body. And these gases, once they go into the body, they cause cell death on contact. They denature the metabolic enzymes inside the mitochondria, so the cells on contact can't survive. So that we knew that root canals are dangerous, and now we had the science. In about the early 2000s, we had the science on that. And a cardiologist named Tom Levy got involved as well. And Dr. Levy being a cardiologist, really understood that the mouth is the reason why, is one of the major reasons why people have heart attacks. I developed a really close relationship with Tom Levy. I've been his dentist now for about well over 20 years, and Dr. Levy in my practice has been phenomenal in my personal journey on being able to stay connected to the science, what's happening internationally, and where all of that information was heading, and what that means for dentistry, and also for developing protocols around how we treat patients in our practice, like what types of things do we implement. One day I came across an email that indicated that Dr. Rao, who is the medical director at the Paracelsus Clinic in Switzerland, was now beginning to train doctors and dentists as to what is Swiss biological medicine and dentistry. One of the things that was so interesting about the Paracelsus Clinic and Dr. Rao's work was that he has a truly holistically integrated model that involves healing the mouth and the body at the same time. And that was, to me, that was absolutely what my calling was as a dentist. Also in Switzerland, what was so neat about it, it was the only clinic that I knew of at the time that was not regulated by any government. So Dr. Rao could do things according to his belief systems and to truly affect patients' health and actually cure patients. So in 2016, I decided to go to Switzerland and to train under Dr. Rao, and during my training there I made the decision to also become a patient there. So I wanted to experience the medicine for myself. I put myself through the testing and the treatments for 2 weeks, and it was just amazing what I learned about my body and what I was able to do proactively in my body to heal some of the things that I didn't even know were going on. It was no surprise to learn that the mouth was intimately involved, and it was one of the first things that he would do is send his patients to the dentist that he had there, the dentist that was at Paracelsus. And of course they took out all the metals, they took out all the dead teeth, they cleaned out all the old extraction sites where teeth had been removed years before, like wisdom teeth sites that didn't heal properly because they weren't extracted properly. So that was a very, very important part of my life in 2016, and healing myself from a motorcycle accident in 2016 as well. I was able, because I had some foundational knowledge in biological medicine, I was able to really affect my own change when I needed it. So it worked amazingly well. What gets me out of bed is the suffering that people are suffering right now, and they're given drugs and surgeries are being performed, and the root cause of their disease is not being addressed. So it's time for disease care to understand that that is what it is. That's disease care, and it's not health care. And what health care is designed after how the body's designed. The body is holistically integrated. The mouth and the body and the body and the mouth are intimately related, and they have to be addressed in all forms of disease.